For 20 years, Johnny and his wife, Binta, lived in a quiet house by the riverside in the small town of Faju. They had been married for many years, but their house was quiet like a grave. No child, no laughter, no baby cry, only the sound of the river behind their house. Every morning, when the sun was still small in the sky, Binta would walk to the river slowly. She would kneel down, touch her stomach gently and whisper, "O gods of the land, give me one child before I die." She said it like a song. The same way every day, rain or shine, cold or hot. Her voice was soft, but full of pain. Johnny would sit behind her, quiet. He no longer begged. He just looked at her and sighed like a tired wind. People in the town started talking. Some would whisper, "Her womb is locked with padlock." Others would say, "Maybe it's Johnny. Maybe he eats his children in the dream." But Binta and Johnny never said anything. They just kept trying. They went from one hospital to another. Doctors checked everything and shook their heads. Medically, nothing is wrong, they always said. Then they started visiting prayer houses. Prophets would pour oil on Binta's belly, press her forehead and shout, "Fire! Receive your baby now!" Until Binta fainted and fell on the floor like dry plantain leaf. But nothing happened, only headache and fainting. Next, they went to a native doctor. The man's beard was long like a mop and his voice sounded like thunder. He gave them bitter herbs. He said, "This one opened a womb that was drier than breadfruit. Drink it." Binta drank. Johnny drank. Their mouths twisted like bitter leaf. They believed him. But after 1 month, Binta's stomach was still flat like riverstone. Still no child. Then they were told to bathe at midnight in the river. They carried calabash, chanted strange words, even walked backwards. The moon just looked at them and said nothing. People told them to sow a seed. Johnny sold his only motorcycle, the one he used to carry firewood to the market. "God will see our sacrifice," he told his wife. Binta went on dry fasting, no food, no water, 14 days. Her lips cracked, her hands shook. But she kept saying, "Maybe God wants more pain." Year after year, the pain grew like grass in the rainy season. One day, in their 15th year of marriage, they met a man of God. His robe was long. He looked at Binta and said, "The only way you can carry a baby is if you sleep with me. It is a spiritual covenant." Binta's eyes opened wide. She dropped to the floor and cried like a child. "No, I cannot. I will not." That night she held Johnny and wept. They didn't speak. They just sat by the river, listening to the frogs sing. From that day, they stopped visiting people. By morning, they packed their things and moved away, far from people, far from noise. They built a small house beside the river. No more hospitals, no more prophets, no more shouting, just silence, just waiting. That's where they stayed, quiet, just the two of them. No laughter, no visitors, only hope and the sound of water flowing like time. In the town of Ikenzi, there was a girl called Amanda. Her skin was bright like morning sun. Her hair was long like palm branches. When Amanda walked through the village, even goats stopped to look. Boys followed her with their eyes. Men whispered to themselves. Her friends always said, "Amanda, you are too fine. Ah, if I had your face, I will marry a governor." Even strangers in the market would say, "This one is not a village girl. She looks like city money." Her parents loved her. Her mother cooked for her. Her father bought everything she needed. But Amanda didn't feel it. They would tell her, "Amanda, sweep the compound. Amanda, go and fetch water. Amanda, wash the plates." She would hiss and say, "Am I a house girl? Why are they treating me like a slave?" She wanted freedom. She wanted to dress how she liked, do what she wanted, go where she wished. But at home, there were rules. One evening, her parents sat talking. They said something simple, "Our daughter." But that small word entered Amanda's heart like a thorn. Her face changed. That night, when everyone was asleep, she quietly packed her things. A small bag, some clothes, her mirror, and her cream. She left a short note by the door. "I've gone to find a better life. Don't look for me." Then she left, just like that. The cock had not even crowed when her parents woke up and found the letter. They shouted, they cried, they ran from street to street calling her name. "Amanda! Amanda! Come back!" But it was too late. She was gone like smoke in the wind. Amanda followed the road until her feet ached, but she didn't stop. At last, she reached a new town. She didn't know anybody there, but that didn't matter. Her face did the talking. Her beauty was loud, loud like a drum. Her shape made people turn twice. Her walk was like music. When she smiled, men's eyes followed her like flies chasing honey. Women whispered, "Who is this one?" But they couldn't stop looking. She found a place to stay, a small room, but clean. She bought new clothes, short skirts that danced with the wind, tight gowns that showed her shape. She painted her lips, she did her hair. She wore perfume that filled the air like flower scent. And best of all, nobody told her what to do. No one said, "Sweep here." No one said, "Cover your body." She slept when she wanted. She woke when she liked. She laughed every day. She made new friends, girls like her who loved enjoyment. They painted nails, danced to loud music, and took pictures by the roadside. "Now I'm free," Amanda said one evening, looking at her reflection in a car window. But one day, as she passed by a big house, a man in white cloth and gold chain saw her. His eyes followed her like a hawk. His name was Chief Oduma, and that was the day everything began to change. Chief Oduma was not just rich, he was heavy with money. His houses stood like palaces. His cars lined the compound like goats at feeding time. He had 4 wives already and 7 daughters, but no son. And that thing, no son, was the thorn in his flesh. No heir, no one to carry his name. Every time he sat in his chair, he would sigh, "What is all this wealth if I don't have a son? Who will take over when I'm gone?" The other wives tried. They fasted, they prayed, they begged prophets, but still only girls came. One day, Chief Oduma saw Amanda walking past a big store. Her waist was moving like rope in the wind. Her skin was glowing like yam peeled in water. His heart jumped. "Who is that girl?" he asked his driver. "I don't know, sir," the man replied. "Find out," Chief Oduma said. It didn't take long. 2 weeks later, Amanda walked into his compound in a red wrapper, her face shining with makeup and pride. "Fine girl," Chief Oduma smiled. "Big man," Amanda laughed. He bought her gold. He gave her money. He treated her like the only woman in the world. "I want you as my wife," he said. Amanda's eyes opened wide. "Wife? Like real wife?" "Yes," he said. "The one who will give me what others could not." Amanda smiled sweetly and leaned close to his ear. Her voice was soft like wind on dry leaves. "I will give you a son, my lord." That night, the traditional wedding was done. There was music, there was dancing. People came with gifts. The compound was full. When she entered his house, the other wives looked at her and kept quiet. They saw how the chief treated her. They saw how he laughed only with her. Even the servants changed her bed sheets every day. Her room smelled of rose water and respect. Chief Oduma touched her stomach every morning. "My queen," he would say, My son is coming. And just like that, Amanda became number one. One early morning, before the birds began to sing, Amanda woke up and ran to the toilet. She vomited 3 times. Her legs were shaking. Her heart was dancing. She held her stomach and smiled. It has happened. The maids ran to call Chief Oduma. Sir, Madam is not feeling well. He jumped from his bed like a boy. What is wrong with her? What does she need? But when the doctor came and checked her, he smiled and said, Congratulations, sir. She is carrying a baby. Chief Oduma shouted, Ha! My son is coming. He clapped his hands and danced in the compound. Call the drummers. Call the cooks. Let this house know joy today. From that day, the compound changed like harmattan turning to rain. Amanda no longer walked. She was carried. Her food was cooked fresh every 2 hours. Chicken pepper soup, pineapple water, soft yam with palm oil. Anything she wanted, she got. Her room was swept 3 times a day. Her bed sheet smelled like flowers. Even her bath water was warm and full of scent. The other wives watched from the side, their eyes cold, their smiles fake. They gathered in the corner, whispering with bitterness in their throats. So it is now she will take all the chief's love. Because of pregnancy, let us see what she will bring out. But Amanda didn't care. Every time Chief Oduma touched her stomach, she smiled. My son is kicking, she would say. And the chief would close his eyes, nodding slowly. Yes, my heir is strong. Even the town began to talk. Amanda has done what others could not. She is blessed. She is the chosen one. Amanda would stand in front of the mirror, rub her belly slowly, and whisper, I must win. This child, you better be a boy, or else you won't like what I will make of you if you dare come as a useless girl. She believed it with all her heart, because in her mind she was not carrying just a baby. She was carrying a throne. One night, when the moon was full and the wind was quiet, Amanda's scream broke the air. Ah! It's coming! It's coming! She shouted. The midwives rushed in with their cloths and herbs. Chief Oduma stood outside, walking up and down like a hungry lion. Inside the room, sweat poured down Amanda's face. Her hands grabbed the mat. Her voice shook the walls. Then the baby came. The room was quiet. The baby cried, a soft cry, like a kitten calling for milk. One of the midwives looked down. Her face changed. The head midwife looked down too and frowned. She cleaned the baby, then whispered, It's a girl. Amanda sat up fast. What? She shouted. No, check again. It must be a mistake. But the midwife shook her head. Madam, it's a baby girl. Amanda's face changed. Her smile died. Her eyes turned cold. I promised him a boy, she said slowly. I told him I will give him a son. She held the baby with shaky hands. The child's eyes were blinking. Her fingers were tiny. Her skin soft like a goosey skin. But Amanda could not smile. She could not say, thank God. Then she turned to the midwives. Her voice became desperate. Please, a poor woman gave birth tonight too, in the small hut behind the compound. I heard. She had a boy. Let us switch. Take my girl. Give me her boy. Please help me. The women stood still. They looked at each other, then looked at her. Madam, one of them said gently, we do not trade children. This is your child. Carry her. Amanda looked down at the baby. The little girl yawned. She was calm, innocent, unaware of the storm around her. But her mother's heart was not at peace. The child she had was not the child she wanted. Later that night, when the drums had stopped and the house was asleep, Amanda opened her door quietly. The baby was wrapped in soft cloth. Her eyes were closed, but she was breathing. Small, sweet breaths like morning wind. Amanda didn't carry the baby like a mother. She held her like a secret. The compound was quiet. Even the dogs didn't bark. Only the sound of frogs in the bush and the soft crying of the baby. The river behind the house was wide and dark. It moved slowly, like it was thinking. Amanda stood at the edge. Her feet touched the cold mud. The baby started to cry. Not loud, just soft whimpers, like she knew something was wrong. Amanda looked at the child. Her face was smooth. Her mouth opened and closed, searching for milk. Then Amanda said, "I cannot raise a girl. A girl is useless. She brings nothing but shame. I promised a boy, a prince, not this." She raised her hands, and just like that, splash, she threw the baby. The baby hit the water. The river opened its arms. It didn't shout. It didn't fight. It just carried the child away. The cloth floated for a moment. Then it disappeared into the black water. Amanda wiped her hands on her wrapper. Her face showed nothing. No tears, no fear, just cold silence. She walked back slowly, like someone returning from market. But her mind was not quiet. What will I say? What if he checks the body? What if they ask questions? She wiped her tears, straightened her wrapper, and bit her lips till they turned red again. She stopped near the kitchen door and picked a torn piece of cloth. She dipped it in water, rubbed it on her chest, and smudged a little on her thighs. Then she entered the room. Chief Oduma was sitting up. His eyes were swollen with sleep, but full of hope. "My queen, is it a boy?" he asked, voice shaking like an old drum. Amanda paused. She touched her belly like it still carried something. Then she gave a small, broken cry. She covered her face with her palms and sat on the edge of the bed. "It was a boy," she whispered. Her voice cracked. She sniffed. She let one single tear fall. Chief Oduma's heart jumped. "A boy? Then where is he? What happened?" Amanda turned her head away. She shook gently, like dry plant in Harmattan wind. He died," she said. "Just as he came out. He didn't even cry long. He just went silent." She covered her face again and wept loudly now. Fake tears, but loud enough to sound real. Chief Oduma's mouth opened wide. He held his chest, then her hand. He didn't question. He didn't check. He believed. His voice was low, broken. "The gods giveth, and the gods taketh." He pulled her into his arms and whispered, "We'll try again. You gave me hope once. You will do it again. My queen, my queen." Amanda closed her eyes, resting her head on his chest. But in her heart, there was no peace, because deep down she knew she had not buried a son. She had buried her shame. But the gods had seen everything, and the river was not sleeping. The river moved slowly that night, calm, quiet, like it was carrying a secret. Inside the water, the baby floated, wrapped in cloth, her tiny hands moving, her mouth crying soft like a kitten lost in the bush. The river did not let her sing. No, it carried her gently, like a mother carrying a sleeping child on her back. She passed tall trees. She passed silent farms. She passed sleeping houses. The stars watched her. The wind followed her. The river kept whispering, "Go, go, go." Then, just before the rooster could crow, the river reached Faju town. Binta and Johnny were outside their small hut. They couldn't sleep. The night was too quiet. Then, wah, wah, they froze. "Did you hear that?" Johnny asked. Binta stood up fast. "That's a baby!" They ran toward the river, barefoot, hearts beating like drum. There, near the edge, caught between two sticks, was the baby, cold, wet, crying. Binta gasped, "A baby girl!" She picked her up, held her close to her chest. The baby stopped crying. She blinked slowly, like she knew she was safe. Tears rolled down Binta's face. "God has answered me. After all these years, God has answered me." Johnny knelt beside them. His hands trembled as he touched the baby's cheek. "She's beautiful," he whispered. They carried her home, wrapped her in warm cloth, boiled water, and gave her milk. As the sun began to rise, Binta looked at Johnny and said, "We will call her Osinachi, the child we waited for." And from that day, Osinachi became their daughter. The river had taken her once, but now she belonged to love. Years passed, like water flowing gently in a calm stream. Osinachi grew fast, tall, smart, and full of light. Her laughter was like music, her smile, soft like morning dew on fresh grass. Binta and Johnny raised her with love, real love, the kind that wraps around you like a warm wrapper on a cold night. She fetched water. She swept the compound. She helped in the kitchen. She never complained. "Thank you, Mama," she always said. "Yes, Papa," she always answered. She prayed every morning before the sun came out. She would kneel by the firewood and whisper, "God, use me to help people." The villagers loved her. At the health center, she helped the nurses. She cleaned wounds. She gave food. She sang to crying children. Sick people smiled when she touched them. They called her Osinachi, the one with mercy in her hands. Even the crops around their house grew better than others. "Maybe it's her spirit," the farmers would say. "She brings peace wherever she goes." Children followed her like chicks following a mother hen. Old women blessed her on the road. Boys admired her, but kept their distance. Her presence was like light, beautiful but sacred. But Osinachi never knew the story of the river. She didn't know where she came from. She thought she was just a girl from Faju, the only daughter of Johnny and Binta. She didn't know that her name was once thrown away. But light cannot be hidden forever. One day, the truth would rise like the sun. Far away in Ikenzi, where the sun once shined bright on big compounds, things started to change in Chief Oduma's house. One early morning, the maids knocked on his door. "Chief, Chief," no answer. They opened it slowly. He was lying still, eyes closed, hands on his chest. Chief Oduma had died in his sleep. There was no cry, no shout, just silence. His lands were shared. His brothers came like hungry lions, dividing his houses, his farms, his money. The compound became quiet. The wives packed their things and left, one by one, like birds flying away from a dry tree. Amanda was the last one. She stayed. Her daughters, they had grown. They got married and moved far, far away. They sent messages sometimes, but they didn't visit, not even for one day. Amanda sat in the big house alone. The same house that once shook with laughter and pride. Now, silence. Dust covered the chairs. Cobwebs danced on the ceiling. The mirrors lost their shine. Then strange things started. At night, when the moon was full, she would hear it, a baby crying. But there was no baby in the house. She would wake up sweating. "Who is that?" she would whisper. No answer, only wah, wah, wah. Her skin began to change. Dark spots, rashes. Her fingers turned pale. Her lips cracked. She went to doctors, one in the city, one in the village, one by the roadside. All of them said the same thing. "Madam, we don't understand this sickness." She took injections. She drank herbs. She fasted, but her body continued to rot, slowly, painfully, her bones weak, her heart heavy. She looked in the mirror one night and said, "What is happening to me?" But the mirror did not speak. Only the walls replied, with the sound of a baby crying, and a river that never forgets. One night, the wind was slow. The house was quiet. Amanda sat alone in her room, her back bent, her skin itching, her breath short. A lantern burned low beside her. She hadn't eaten all day. Her hands were shaking. Then, knock, knock. A sound at the door. She jumped. Knock, knock, knock. "Who is there?" she asked, her voice weak like an old drum. No answer. She opened the door slowly. There stood a woman. Her wrapper was white, her eyes sharp like blade. Her feet had no dust, even though the road was dry. She looked like someone who came from nowhere. The woman spoke. Her voice was not loud, but it filled the air. "You are dying." Amanda's knees became soft. "What? Who are you? What do you mean?" she asked. The woman stepped forward. "The river remembers. What you threw away is still alive, and she is the only one who can save you." Amanda's mouth opened, but words refused to come. "You have until the next new moon," the woman continued. "If she does not bless you, you will die." Then just like that, she turned and walked away into the dark. Amanda rushed out to follow her. "Wait, please, who are you?" she cried. But there was nothing. No footsteps, no sound, no shadow. Only the night, only the silence, only the river, whispering softly in the distance. Find her before it is too late. The next morning, before the cock could crow, Amanda tied her head with an old scarf, picked a small bag, and stepped out of the house. Inside the bag was the only thing she kept from that night, the small charm bracelet the baby wore on her ankle, the one tied with red thread and tiny cowries. Her face was tired, her skin was dry, her body was weak, but her heart was racing. "I must find her," she whispered. "I must live." She started walking. 1 town, 2 towns, 3. She knocked on doors. "Please, do you know a girl who came from the river? Do you know this bracelet?" Some slammed the door. Some chased her away like a mad woman. One man even threw water on her, shouting, "Go away, witch!" She fainted on the roadside once, then again, then a 3rd time. Strangers gave her water. A kind woman gave her bread, but her body was no longer strong. Her feet swelled like yam in fire. Her eyes turned red like hot charcoal. Her breath became short, but she kept going. She walked through rain. She walked through sun. She walked through bush paths and dry roads. Her slippers tore. Her voice cracked. Every night, she counted the days with stones. 1, 2, 3. Then, with 6 days left to the new moon, she arrived at her town, Faju. As she entered, the breeze touched her skin. The river nearby hummed softly, like it was waiting. She looked around slowly and whispered with trembling lips, "This place feels familiar." But the river said nothing. It only flowed, watching, waiting. That afternoon, Faju town was full of noise and joy. The village square was alive. Drums beating, people dancing, women ululating, children running in circles. Banners flew in the air. People clapped and shouted, "Osinachi! Osinachi!" She had been accepted to study medicine in Lagos. The whole town was proud. The girl they all loved. The girl of light. The girl from the river. She stood in the middle, smiling, her hair packed in neat braids, her white gown shining like morning. Her anklet moved as she danced. The small charm bracelet, tied long ago with red thread and cowries, it jingled softly, Amanda had just entered the square, her body dusty, her wrapper torn, her lips dry like cracked earth. She looked up, and her eyes saw the bracelet. Her mouth opened wide, her legs shook, her chest beat like drum in the rain. No, it cannot be. It cannot. Then her knees gave way. She fell down hard. Her hands hit the ground. Her head bowed, but she didn't stop. She began to crawl. People turned and stared. Who is this woman? Where did she come from? Is she mad? But Amanda didn't care. She pointed at Osinachi, her voice trembling like wind in old leaves. My child, my daughter, please, I am dying. Osinachi stopped dancing. She turned slowly. Her smile faded. Her eyes met the woman on the ground, and for the first time, her heart felt something she could not name. The music stopped. The drums went silent. Even the birds paused in the trees. All eyes were on the woman crawling on the ground, Amanda. Her wrapper was soaked with dust, her face full of tears, her hands shaking as she reached toward Osinachi. Osinachi stood still, her eyes wide, her heart beating like thunder. Then Amanda began to speak. Her voice cracked like dry wood in fire. I gave birth many years ago. I promised him a son. Her chest heaved. The crowd leaned closer, but it was a girl, and I walked to the river, and I threw her in. Gasps filled the air. A woman covered her mouth. A man stepped back slowly. You are the one, Amanda whispered. You were that baby. The river didn't kill you. It gave you to another. You lived. You became light. And she broke into tears. I am dying. They said only your blessing can save me. Please, please, before the new moon. I don't want to die. The village square was quiet like graveyard. Nobody moved. Behind Osinachi, Binta and Johnny were standing, their faces calm but strong. A woman stepped forward quickly, trying to shield Osinachi. Number, don't go near her. This woman is wicked, she said. But Binta raised her hand slowly and nodded, gently, the way a mother nods when a child must face something only she can answer. Osinachi looked at the woman on the ground, and her eyes began to fill with tears. The air was heavy. Even the wind stood still. Osinachi walked slowly toward the woman on the ground. Her eyes were wet. Her hands shook. Her lips pressed tight like she was holding back a storm. She stopped in front of Amanda, and in a voice soft but strong, she said, You tried to end me. Amanda raised her head. Her mouth trembled, her face covered in dust and tears. But God preserved me, Osinachi continued. The villagers watched, frozen. No one spoke. No one moved. Amanda cried louder, like a baby begging for breast. Please, just bless me. I don't want to die. Osinachi bent down slowly. She placed her hand on Amanda's head, her fingers gentle, her eyes full. I forgive you, she said, her voice breaking like cracked glass. Let heaven hear it. Let the earth witness it. Then she stood up. She looked at the river in the distance and whispered, But your peace is not from me alone. Go and ask the river if it has also forgiven you. The wind returned, and as Amanda knelt there, her shoulders stopped shaking, her breathing slowed, her skin, once pale and dying, began to warm. Color returned to her cheeks. Her hands stopped trembling. She looked up at Osinachi with tears of peace. But Osinachi turned around and walked away. She had given her blessing, but not her heart. She did not smile. She did not look back, because some wounds only God can heal. Moral lesson: the child you throw away may become the one to save your life. Life does not forget. Forgiveness heals, but it cannot clean the memory of wickedness. I hope you enjoyed the tale. If so, please like the video, share it with your family and friends, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell for more enchanting tales like this one. Goodbye.